Welcome in, all new Jock Market Power Hour for this week's Valero Texas Open. I'm Rick Gabe, that right there, Joe Idoni, and we are going to spend the next hour playing the markets. Hello, Joe.
Stock Market DFS, baby. Wednesday nights. We've got a big week in store for Valero, but Rick, this time next week, it's going to be tough to go to sleep at night. The excitement is palpable for Augusta, but I'm ready to go for this week. Let's build up those portfolios. Let's bring a stack to the Masters.
Yeah, that's right. This is where you got to build your reinforcements, because no matter how much you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to take it easy, I'm only going to pick my 4 or 5 guys, by the time Thursday morning comes, I know, at least for me, I've moved all the chips into the center of the table and I'm ready to rock and roll.
That's how it rolls, man. That's how we always get a little extra fired up for major championships. But there are a lot of guys this week, more than any, with a lot of incentive, with a lot to play for heading into this week. Some are preparing for next week. Some are just trying to get in and punch their ticket to Augusta, Georgia. But I'm sure we'll get into the field, but excited to talk through it with you once again.
Yeah, that is certainly the case. Now, we are playing a little bit of a different game here. We're playing stock market DFS, where all you have to do is figure out which golfers are going to outperform or underperform to their own expectations. So right now we're in the IPO phase. You can bid on shares of golfers. If you're one of the high bidders when this IPO closes at 9 p.m. Eastern time, those shares are allocated to you. You can also short golfers if you don't think they are going to play as well as their price indicates. And those guaranteed payouts determined by finishing position are really what we are playing up against. So I'll show you last week's real quick, Joe. But before we do that, the boys over at Jock Market always innovating, always coming with something new on the table. And I want to show you what they've got for the new stuff. And it's called the Fast Five, because Jock Market, the stock market DFS, is not the only game that you can play on the site anymore. You can get into the props pick'em. I know that you've been messing around with this. What are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. They're giving away $1,000. So that's an initial thought right there. You have to enter the contest, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, starts tomorrow.
That's right.
So you have it right there. All the details are in the tweet. You can check their profile. You can check their Twitter account. They have everything pretty laid out, and it makes a lot of sense. The pick'em game is what a little bit more easier to digest, I think, for some new users. And the chance to win $1,000 for the first person to do so is certainly a prize worthy of garnering a lot of attention from everyone. If you're in the chat now, make sure you get in this.
Yeah, so those two-leg entries, if you are the first to hit 5 in a row, which this reminds me of those days of like ESPN Beat the Streak. Did you ever play that?
What was it? Beat the Streets?
Yeah, Beat the Streak, I think it was called.
No,
and they would have all these different wagers, and you'd have to just pick one and like see how long your streak could go, and they'd give out prizes. I don't know. I love that, but it reminds me of that. So the first to get this streak of 5 is going to get an extra $1,000. You do have to opt in. So I actually put the link in the description. You might have to refresh the page because I just dropped it in there. But you can go to jockmarket.com/fast-5 and get access to the opt-in, and then have a chance to win that extra $1,000, which is pretty good from what I understand.
Pretty tasty, right?
Pretty tasty. The other thing is I have it on good authority. I've been I've been bothering the guys over at Jock Market. When are these pick'em game? When are we going to get golf? When is golf happening? Well, from my understanding, they are not going to let the Masters go without these, so they'll certainly be here next week. There is also a chance that you see them as early as Friday, round 2 of Valero Texas Open. The golf props could be available.
You just dropped an absolute bomb on the show. I'm not even aware of this yet, Rick.
Yeah, I've been
all
bugging
right.
them.
So pick them next week for the Masters. I can't wait. We will be covering it. We should definitely spend like a good 10 minutes at the start of the show going through some of the options there. That's awesome. I'm thrilled to hear it. They are the best. Thanks for the intel, buddy.
There you go. So the code you're looking for to get involved in any part of this is POWER. There's a link in the description. We have a $100 deposit bonus. Go on there, get started, get your cash, get involved, and start rocking and rolling. Let's put some tangible examples out there for the people. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. Maybe we can see this a little bit better. This is last week's cash market, Corrales Punta Cana. And the winner, Matt Wallace, got the full $25 per share payout. Well, last week he sold for $7.16 in IPO. That was $17 worth of profit. Then 3 guys in the $6 range, Nikolai Højgaard, Sam Stevens, Tyler Duncan, returned $20, $18, and $16 respectively. Then we get a couple of cheapos here. Austin Eckroyd was $5.14. He finished at $15 a share. This is my favorite. Ricky Barnes, $2.45 last Wednesday. Finished at $13 a share. So you made $10.50 on Ricky Barnes last week.
Out of nowhere, Ricky Barnes. But here's like the right above Ricky Barnes. The beauty of Jock Market exists solely in Wyndham Clark. Number 1 on your odds board last week. You bet him. He was never really in it. You lost all your money. You took him to probably top 5. You lost all your money. You probably played him in some other DFS formats, and he was highly owned and let you down because Matt Wallace was right there. In Jock Market, he returned you a 24% profit per share as the number 1 projected ranked player. So it speaks to the difference in this game. It speaks to the uniqueness and what makes it so enticing and enjoyable for the bettor, for the player. And it's just another example. And the other one, Rick, I wanted to talk to you about. How about that short on our boy Patrick Rogers last week?
Oh, that's right. The old Patrick Rogers short. So hold on. Let me pull up the numbers here. What was the number that you got the short in on him at?
Oh, shoot. I have to pull it up, but you probably have the IPO there.
Yes.
836, I think.
836. Okay, so let's talk about that because you can short right now. So a short on Patrick Rogers at $8.36 because his finishing position payout was $1.44. See where this says profit? Losing $6.92? No. If you shorted Patrick Rogers, you made $6.92 a share.
Yep. We added this into the IPO markets, probably about 3-4 months ago.
Right.
So you can play both sides of everything now. As you're in this next sort of 35 minutes here before IPO close, you can bid on players. You can also play a chance to play it the other way. And if you think they've got a miscut incoming and they are overvalued, short them, baby.
Yeah, start thinking about this. The Hideki Matsuyamas of the world, right? Who, hey, maybe if I shoot a 75 on Thursday, maybe I'm going to Augusta National. I don't know. If there is somebody that you think is going to be a little too popular, we're going to talk about Ricky Fowler in a second. Ricky Fowler, for the entirety of his career, his popularity inflates basically everything about him in our world, whether it's his ownership on your favorite DFS site, whether it is what people are willing to pay for him in the Jock market. It just gets inflated. If you think now is the time to play the other side of it, the shorting is available for you.
You got it, man. Ricky's a great example. We'll talk about him in a second because we have to for Bullish and Bearish. We can't let this event go by without probably the top storyline heading into this week. But as you mentioned, play both sides of the fence, baby.
All right, let's play bullish or bearish. This is our opportunity to take a stand on 4 different golfers, decide whether we are bullish or bearish. We are going to start right there with Ricky Fowler, the man who needs a victory to get himself into he needs a win, right? He can't do anything but win to get into the Masters.
I think there are scenarios in which he can finish as low as 4th and still be top 50.
That makes sense because he's like 50 something in the world right now.
Yes.
All right. So what we have here for Ricky tonight is a fair value of $8.85 a share. That looks at all the markets, his outright number, how often he's going to finish there, how often he's going to get the full $25 share payout. It says, what's his fair value? It's 885. That's asking Ricky to finish about 15th or better. So I ask you, Joe, are you bullish or bearish on Ricky Fowler?
About the squarest take you'll ever see me lay on this show. I'm bullish on Ricky. I think that it's all systems go, and for me, it's somewhat about incentive, right? We've seen a history here of these guys with a lot to play for to get in the Masters, have a correlation to success in general. The other part of it is the guy's just playing awesome over the last 10 starts of the 150 guys in this field. He's third in average ROI. Only Eric Cole and Nick Taylor in the last 10 markets have a better ROI percentage. 67.4% over the last 10 is an incredible run for Ricky. Everything in the world to play for this week. I think this course should set up to some of his strengths. Now, the only caveat there is it's about $3 higher than what his average IPO has been lately. But some of that is indicative of field strength. Some of that is indicative of how well this guy is playing. I'm going to stay on the Ricky train, root for the guy. Let's go bullish. What about you?
I definitely lean bullish. Yeah. So, you know,
Awesome.
you mentioned it. He has been very good in this format, in the jock market. You look at the advanced metrics and you see a golfer that is really striking it well. You see a guy who is back to putting it well, something that he also lost during that slump and during the swing changes. The putter wasn't helping him out, and he's got a couple of decent starts at Valero. I mean, this is kind of a perfect storm of opportunity and playing well for him. So yeah, a slight bullish stance on Ricky, though we're going to have to be able to drop the anchor at some point. You know,
Yeah.
there's going to be a price very close to that fair value, whether it's like 950, which would be 13th or better, that I'd have to be out. But 885, if you gave me that right now, I'll take it.
Yeah. I love it.
Let's talk Corey Connors here. We
Mm.
have his fair value at 790. That is 18th or better. Corcon obviously won this event in 2019. So I ask you, Joe, are you bullish or bearish on Corey Connors?
So Ricky's graph in terms of the profitability and ROI has been on the way up. My man Corkon is on the way down. One of the worst guys in the field actually over the last 10 events in ROI. His average payout over the last 10 events in terms of the price you're getting back per share is $3.74. That's going to make that 793 very hard to achieve. That's less than half of that. I'm going to be bearish on Corey Connors. Here's the thing, we associate this great course history and course fit with Corey Connors here. And of course, he had the great story of Monday qualifying before that event. And I think there's this sense of he Monday queued into it. He had never really had any success, and he just kind of stumbled into this event and found it here. That's not necessarily true. He played 5 events leading into that event where he Monday qualified very well. His approach numbers were almost 2.5 strokes per round in the 5 events leading into the Valero Championship that he won. They're less than a stroke per round right now. His iron play is slipping well below his baseline. His around the green game and putting is not great. If you're going to tell me he's going to gain 11 strokes on approach again this week, I'm going to say that that's very, very unlikely given his current form. I'm bearish on Corcon.
Yep, I think you and I are vibing here tonight. So those last 10 markets, he's been a loser in 8 of them, a winner in 2, and he's down big, 38% ROI on average. I also just the higher you ask Corey Connors to finish to the top of the board, the less juice there is to squeeze out of this. He is a T18 machine, right? But when you need him to finish 13th or better, T18 is no good. When
Right.
when you're asking him to finish 22nd or better, sure, pump out those T18s. I'll take my 8% ROI over and over and over again. But there is just everything seemingly has to go right for him to find his ceiling, something that we haven't seen in quite some time. I have to take a bearish approach when he gets to this price point.
I agree. It's about like their where are they at right now versus their baseline. He's performing well below his baseline in terms of if you look at his last 50 rounds, 40 rounds, 20 rounds. The last 5 tournaments are well below that versus Ricky is on the way up in terms of those stats. So I'm out as well.
Let's go from one past champion to another. Let's go and talk about JJ Spawn. He is at a 707 fair value for tonight. That's 22nd or better. Joe, I'll start here. I'm bullish on JJ. I think what we got from him last week was exactly what we wanted to see. Like 3-0, get out of your group. Lose in the Sweet 16, so you don't have to play too much. He was very well rounded. He gained strokes on approach, around the green, with the putter. Now he's going back to a place that he's going to defend at, and his skill set is right on par with, obviously, because he can keep the ball in the fairway or close to it. So I don't love going back to the defending champion. I think sometimes they get a bump in this scenario when they shouldn't, but I don't think JJ Spawn is getting any huge run of bids tonight. So I'll take JJ. I'll be on the bullish side of things.
In terms of like course history spots on tour, do you think TPC San Antonio, if you had like a midline, is it above average in terms of course history or below, would you say?
Slightly above, I think. I think
Okay.
you get a couple of guys that have really strong course history over and over again. There's enough of those guys. And also a lot of it, because it is a TPC, the way that they maintain the TPCs is generally very similar over and over and over again, which
Mm,
makes me think this is probably like 5.5 out of 10 in terms of like slightly above average.
got it. I'm kind of torn on this one, to be honest. It's essentially asking him to top 20 this week. Right where his position is. He did it a lot around the green in his last sort of stint, which I know is kind of a strength of his, but always worries me because it's one of the more volatile stats in terms of, are you going to chip in? Are there things that happen around the green where things can kind of go up and down? I'm going to say bearish, just in the sense that I'm kind of looking at projection of an odds board, and you can kind of get him to top 20 this week around plus 150 at most
Yeah.
sports books. I'm going to say bearish, just maybe that's a little bit inflated based off last year's performance. But you're right, man. He played awesome last week and was super encouraging in terms of some of the strokes gained, approach numbers, and ball striking numbers. Cool to see that you have that data from match play as well.
Yeah, so I was actually going to point that out as well, because you're right. If you're asking him to finish top 20, the sports book I'm looking at right now has him as a dog to do so, plus 150, as you pointed out, to finish top 20 this week for JJ Spawn. Then finally, the man, the enigma, no idea what to do with Cameron Davis. So we're going to try to figure this out together. His fair value tonight. Oh, I don't want to reveal the big board too soon here. His fair value for tonight. Oh my gosh, I don't even see him. Where is Cam Davis? He has a horrible pre-ranked 32nd, 508. That is, he asking him to finish 34th or better. Bullish or bearish on Cam Davis?
I'm back in. It doesn't take much for me, Rick. You know that. He's my boy. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just take him for his word that the man got really sick and just stopped playing well. But if you look sort of long term, obviously the last 10 rounds have not been good for him. He was getting absolutely crushed, mostly around the green and with the putter, which was solid to see him have a couple of good putting weeks in a row. I think that from what I saw from match play, he had some good shots around the green as well. Seems to be getting a little bit of that touchback. I think that his upside in terms of talent is well above like 32nd in this field. So I'm hoping that he can kind of turn it around, and I'm willing to bet on the bullish side.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. The one thing that I will say is that he is one of the few non-big guys at the top that have legitimate PGA Tour winning upside, right? It's you've got Hatton, Ricky, Siwoo, Connors. They're basically like the top 4 on any betting board. I think people realize, okay, Chris Kirk and Matt Kuchar, maybe they can win. And then it kind of falls off after that. As much as I love Thomas Dietrich, can Thomas Dietrich win? I don't know. As much as I love Nick Taylor, can Nick Taylor win? I don't know. You know what I mean? I do know that
Yeah.
Cam Davis can win, right?
Yes.
He did it last year. He played great at the President's Cup in a big spot as well. Like I know that he can win. So if we get that ceiling Cam Davis week, I trust that it's going to be a big one.
I'm with you there. You made a great point. Like, even if you go long term in the next 6 months, just look at the names that are around him right there in sort of the pre rank. Like, if you could pick one of these players to win in the next 6 months, Sig, Neesmith, Rogers, Kazire, Davis, Ben Taylor, Ryan Palmer, Bo Hostler, Joe Bramlett, like everyone's taking Cam Davis there.
Yeah.
We know that the upside and the potential, if he can align it with a little bit of form, he's got winning equity.
Yeah, it's Davis in a landslide. Okay. I'm going to unveil the big board. This is the live data. So we've got the live numbers coming in for trading as we speak. This IPO is going to close right around 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. The code you're looking for is in the description. It is POWER. That'll get you your $100 deposit bonus, and you can get rocking and rolling here. Here's the big board, Joe. No surprise. Terrell Hatton is currently the most expensive golfer in the market, $8.42 a share. That would ask Terrell to finish about 16th or better. He still has a lot of room to go to his fair value. I will point out he did address that hand thing that we saw last week. So he said he took a 75% 6-iron on Wednesday, felt a sharp pain through his wrist. He worked through it. He didn't feel it on Thursday. He didn't feel it on Friday, and he hasn't felt it since.
Great news. That's what we want to hear. So I think
that good of a report, as we could have gotten.
Yeah, that addresses the withdrawal concerns, and that's kind of what it feels like. Like, we've all been there where you hit one on the range, and you're like, look down at your hand. So that's kind of what it felt like. It just happened to have cameras on him at the range at that time. It happened to got posted to Twitter, and you know how things move in our circles. It's fast and furious when we see a guy holding his wrist on the practice range before tee off.
Yeah, and while he was 0-3, he didn't play he didn't putt well for sure, but he didn't play particularly bad. He gained strokes from tee to green, just kind of ran into a little bit of bad luck and bad play at the wrong times, and just like that, you're 0-3. So he is currently $8.42 per share. The last 5 cash markets he's been in, he's been a winner in 4 of them. That match play was not an official cash market. We played Punta Cana that week because of the format. Ricky Fowler, I don't think Joe is going to give us any deals tonight. Already up to $7.80, $1.05 away from his fair value. And then a guy that we haven't talked about yet, Siwoo Kim, right in tow, 704. So the big 3 kind of shaping up here, and Siwoo is obviously garnering a lot of attention.
Consistent. Like, remarkably consistent out of Siwoo lately, which we don't normally associate with Siwoo Kim, right? But the ball striking numbers have been fantastic. I think I had him as like the number 2 guy in this field over the last 30 rounds or so. He's not making bogeys. He's giving himself an abundance of looks within 15 to 20 feet for birdie. He's not putting it terribly. He's overall positive in the last 8 events. I kind of am interested, but part of me worries, like, the old volatile Siwoo that we all have known from like the last 2 years is like, okay, when Siwoo's the 3rd highest guy on your board, you kind of just stay away. I wonder if this narrative has kind of changed and he's found a little bit of consistency, but I'm not going to lie, it worries me a little bit making that stand that top.
Almost too consistent, this Siwoo. Yeah. I'm suspicious of this Siwoo character. No, I'm in. I mean, he's putted so much better since he's gone to the long putter. He still has all the upside in the world. He's very accurate off the tee, keeps it in play. He's got great history around here. It might be a trap, but I will step right on into it. That $6 range, Corey Connors, we talked about, Chris Kirk, Matt Kuchar there. So Kirk and Kuchar have essentially been, at least from my perspective, like locked at the hip this week. They've generally been priced in a similar manner. They are priced in a similar manner here. They are the 10th and 11th pre-ranked golfers. Kuchar is 10, Kirk is 11. You don't have to choose one, Joe. You can have as many shares of as many golfers as you want, but let's play a game called you have to have Chris Kirk or Matt Kuchar. Where are you headed?
Chris Kirk for me.
Okay.
I bet Chris Kirk this week. If you could give me the two options, I think that he has a ton more upside. Kuchar's been playing great. Match play is kind of his thing. We know that. He's just kind of got that system worked down where he's not going to make any mistakes, and he's been really good at it. Kirk, outside of if you're willing to write off the players, which we can all create a narrative where we write off the players every year. 3 of his previous 5 starts were top 3 finishes or better. He's like 30-1 on the odds board this week. That's kind of what he was at the Honda, and this is a very similar field, and he won the Honda. He has great course history here as well. This is a course that should set up nicely for his sort of around the green strengths and some of his approach play, playing that nice little smooth, consistent draw in there. For me, it's going to be Chris Kirk by a pretty decent margin.
That $5 range, couple guys we have talked about, JJ Spawn, Cam Davis are in here, but Ben Griffin, Ryan Fox, Nick Taylor. Is there another guy on this list that you have favorited for tonight, or is it just the kind of 2 that we've talked about?
Ooh, you got him up there now. I'm surprised he's this popular already, but this guy has been awesome. Like I was looking actually, let me see if I can pull it back up at the average ROI. So it was Ricky was in 3rd that I mentioned of all players in the field. Nick Taylor's 2nd. Eric Cole you can kind of write off because he's played like 3 or 4 events.
Yeah.
Nick Taylor, 10 events worth of data. If you take all of those markets, would be the absolute best player in terms of average ROI return in the field. IPO price on average 382. He's paying out 612 over the last 10 events. Really, really consistent, super sharp around the green. Some of the approach play is a little bit inconsistent, as you see there on the charts, but I really, really like his upside. In a place like Jock Market, this is the perfect place for him. He's going to be extremely high owned in DFS. That doesn't really matter here. I don't think he can win this tournament. It's kind of weird to say that I like him so much, but I don't think he can win. I think this is the place you want to take Nick Taylor.
Yeah, it doesn't have to win. So if he goes for his fair value, which is 642, he has to finish 23rd or better. That's what you're asking for out of Nick Taylor. So that's why this is so important to know what expectations are and whether your golfer can meet, exceed, or go below those expectations. Now, that $4 range is massive. It's got Thomas Dietrich in it. I mentioned it before. I like Thomas Dietrich. Finished 8th in Punta Cana. Adam Schenk feels like a while ago, but the last time we saw him was Valspar. He finished runner-up there. That was the last time we saw him. Ben Martin's been phenomenal. Nikolai Højgaard's here. Like, what are we doing in this $4 range? What has your attention?
I thought about Højgaard. I don't know a ton about him, but was impressed with him last week. But the one that has my attention, okay, I see now he just, according to my chart here, just jumped to 5. But what do we do with Hideki? He was in that $4 range. I think he's going to go well below his fair value, which is 3rd projected rank at $8.85 per share. I don't know.
I am probably out until further notice.
Okay.
Okay. So like, if you have not, so I've been lucky enough where I have not really invested much in Hideki in 18 months, and I've basically gotten away with it. Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll tell you what, I know for a fact I bet him at the Zozo. So I got the Zozo win at the end of 2021. I definitely missed out on the win at the Sony, and I have not missed out on anything since then. So since January of 2022, basically 15 months ago, I have not been burned by Hideki by not investing in him, and I think I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that, even in a weaker field with a solid pre-rank. It's just too many red flags.
He
right?
doesn't even look like himself, right? Yeah. I mean, if I printed out this stat profile, removed the names and handed it to you, you'd never guess it's Hideki. The ball striking's been horrible. The around the green play is generally pretty good. It's been okay. The putter has come and gone, which I'm actually fine with, but this is all that stuff, and the fact that he is the largest WD liability on tour right now. He's the largest WD liability on tour, and this is the week he is the largest of all large WD liabilities.
Yeah.
You don't think that dude's going to shoot a 76 and say, well, better get to Augusta National, like get back to my spot. I'd
Yep.
rather play him next week.
Next a little stiff. Yeah, no, I agree. And the biggest thing that you mentioned there is a preeminent ball striker in the world doesn't look anything like himself right now. The amount of tournaments there where he's losing 2 to 3 strokes ball striking is so uncharacteristic for him. It's unbelievable. You topple the withdrawal concerns on there. Yeah, you're gonna get a good price tonight, but I'm probably with you, and I'm just gonna have to plug my nose and ignore it.
Yeah, so he's up to $5 a share right now. He is the third pre-ranked golfer. I don't know if I mentioned it, but that pre-ranked, that's what breaks the ties. So Hideki's in a really good spot to break ties. Only Tyrrell Hatton and Ricky Fowler would break ties ahead of Hideki Matsuyama. So going a little bit further down this board, and I have refreshed this, so we've got a little bit of a shuffle here. So we're staying in that $4 range. Those other names that you mentioned earlier, that like it was like the Joe Bramlett, it was Bo Hostler, it was Brandon Wu. This is where I start to question, how deep can these guys go? And of these guys, who are the ones that I want to hitch my wagon to? Is there somebody that jumps out at you here?
Oh, my eyes are a little bit drawn to Joe Bramlett. I bet him, I think, at 100 to 1. It was one of those things, Rick, where I ran a stat model and he was like at the top, and I'm like, I can't let this guy be like second in my stat model and not have any piece of him. But I think I don't really. I would rather invest in the $2 and $3 range than a lot of these guys at 4. I feel like you can get similar players for $1 cheaper.
There was one guy there I wanted to look up. Taylor Montgomery has a very, very good pre-rank, and I just want to pull his stuff up
Where's
and
he at?
see. So he was at 375, sixth in the pre-rank right now. And I wanted to
Wow.
pull up, I wanted to pull up his stats and just kind of see what we were working with. So he lost in a playoff to Mackenzie Hughes and did not get out of his group. He made the cut at both the players and the API. I will admit, this is not a beautiful stat profile that we're seeing right now, but a much weaker field, and he's been playing better as of late. I would not mind taking a flyer if he is going to be severely underowned with that pre-rank tonight.
Upside. Yeah, major upside there. Yeah, I had him disappointing. I think he like topped one
He
that playoff against
he
McKenzie. What
dude,
did he
he
do?
straight chunked it. He
He
straight
chunked the tee shot.
he hit a 3-wood off the tee that went 180 yards.
I thought I was living in like some sort of alternate universe as I missed the tee shots and I tuned in and I saw where he was hitting his second shot from. And then they showed Mackenzie Hughes like greenside, and I'm like, this has to be Hughes' third shot. And they're like, I'm like, how did this happen? How's
He straight laid the sod over it off the tee. And Mackenzie Hughes was 130 yards further than Taylor Montgomery was. It was I guess it was nerves. It was really bad. Really ugly stuff.
Yeah, it had to be nerves, yeah.
Power is the code you're looking for. Link in the description. Get your $100 deposit bonus. This thing's maturing pretty quickly here, Joe. So we've got about 12 minutes or so until this IPO closes. Tyrrell Hatton holding strong at the top with Siwoo and Ricky in tow. I think that is the most likely top 3. Maybe Ricky moves into spot number 2 because he's the second pre-ranked golfer, and it's Ricky. Corey Connors is lagging behind. Here's a guy we didn't talk about. And I think, Joe, a lot of people are more bullish on Davis Riley than I am. I'm kind of lukewarm. He's at his fair value right now, 628. That's asking him to finish about 25th or better. What do you think about Davis Riley this week?
It's interesting you say that because I'm with you. I feel like there's too much hype this week. I don't love it. I kind of liked him in some of those like other events when he was 60, 70 to 1. I don't like him as a favorite here. I would rather have those guys $1 cheaper, like Nick Taylor, like Cam Davis, like Taylor Montgomery. I feel like there's a bit more consistency there. He does have, of course, the win here at this course at the Corn Ferry event, which is where he's getting a lot of this popularity and public perception from. But I just, there's too much hype for me.
Yeah. So just to be clear, what a lot of the analysis is that 3 years ago during COVID, in almost 3 years ago, July of 2020, he won a Corn Ferry Tour event here. Okay. I mean, that's awesome. That's fine. I mean, it's better than nothing, but like that can't be the only thing. What about like
Right.
all of the rounds that he has played on the PGA Tour and everywhere else since then? And I think he's playing fine. I think he's playing okay. I don't like how much he hemorrhages on and around the greens, which I think is going to be pretty critical this week. You know, these are bigger than average green sizes, but they're harder to hit than tour average, and you're playing from greenside a lot. I just like I think he's fine, but I don't get the like Davis Riley's gonna obviously win this hype.
100%. Not a good putter, not good around the green. And the iron play has not been good. Like there was a run there that you just had there, maybe like over last summer. If you go down where you'll
Yeah,
see
it's
just
here.
green numbers, that's when you want to bet Davis Riley 25-1. That's when it makes sense to be the fifth price guy in the jock market. Like I can see it then. But the iron play is not nearly, and the ball striking numbers are not nearly to that standard now. And we're just basically giving him that because he won the Corn Ferry Tour event there, which is it's too much for me.
A little bit too much. Okay, let me see what else I can find here as this thing is getting to the finish line. I'm trying to see if there's any interesting names. You know, we didn't talk much about Nikolai Højgaard. So he got a 200% ROI last week in Punta Cana because he finished runner up. He has another really good pre-rank this week. It's 7th. We talked about this a little. We talked about this last week. We kind of said, okay, this is like the Minwoo Lee stat profile, right? Guy coming over and has a bunch of great European Tour starts, is going to make his PGA Tour debut, but like first in 18 starts, and didn't disappoint. Played great.
Yeah, still a bit of an unknown for me in terms of his numbers. So let me ask you. So he is in like this $5 range right now. Let's assume, just for the sake of the argument, that these guys are all the same price. Dietrich, Fox, Højgaard.
Mm.
Is he third on that list, would you say?
No, so I like Fox, but I worry that this place is that he's going to spray it around this place a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I give me like long-term Ryan Fox this week. I'm not so sure about. I like Dietrich, but Dietrich is seemingly a much more like solid, well-rounded golfer. I think he'll top 20 more events. Højgaard's like your high upside, go win a golf tour. His brother too. They're both kind of like higher risk, high reward. So you know you can kind of take which guy you want and how you want to build out your portfolio. But no, I think Fox is third on that list for me. And then depending on what you want, if you want volatility, go get Nikolai. If you want a little bit of safety, go get Thomas.
Yeah, Nikolai is the cheapest option right now by about 60 cents. So that's interesting.
Yeah, the other guys that are around this area too that I've been keeping an eye on. I'll throw a couple out real quick and then I'll get you out of here, Joe. Sam Ryder. Sam Ryder's got 5 wins in his last 6 starts. He has got a bunch of top 20s in there. And then Ben Martin, I'll actually pull up his stat profile. We've talked about him a couple weeks ago, I think, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Martin is playing unbelievable golf right now. T13 at Pebble, T5 at Honda, a made cut at both Players and Valspar, and then a T8 at Punta Cana. And he's doing it all via the ball striking. Like, this is a great stat profile for Ben Martin.
A great stat profile. Remarkably consistent there and on probably the best run with his irons in his career. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Okay, 8:53 p.m. Eastern time. Joe, why don't you go get your bids in, and we'll see you on the other side.
You got it, buddy.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Joe is going to go get in the market. He is going to be bidding and trying to win shares of golfers. He might even be shorting some guys. And we will rendezvous with him in a couple of minutes and see who he ended up getting. Now, I'll take you the rest of the way here and give you an update on the pricing and as those changes roll in. It is 8:54 p.m. Eastern time by my clock. So we've got about 5 or 6 minutes until this IPO closes, and we are definitely in the home stretch and the sprint right now. Terrell Hatton is $8.50, which feels like he's been right around that mark for the vast majority of the show. I do not know if we've run its course or if there's guys lurking, waiting to get those bids in on Terrell Hatton, because if you look at his fair value, there's still $2.40 to go. So the difference between his current price, $8.50, and his fair value, $10.90, is the difference between finishing 16th or better or 10th or better. So that's 6 finishing position places. The difference between his IPO and his fair value right now. Siwoo Kim has about 50 more cents to go to his fair value, 818 to 871. A winner in 2 out of his last 4, a big loser at Riviera. Otherwise, go back a little bit further. It's a lot of good stuff. He won at Sony earlier this year, and then Ricky Fowler at 810. He's been piling up the wins. We've talked about him. Kuchar, Connors are the only 2 golfers in the $7 range, with Hideki leading the way at $6.98. So there was a little hesitancy on Hideki early in this market. Took him a long time to get to the $5 mark. Now he's bearing down on the $7 mark. His fair value is $8.85. So maybe there's somebody, or at least enough somebodies out there, who believe in Hideki this week that is driving that price up right now. Chris Kirk, Taylor Montgomery, there's the move on Montgomery, Davis Riley, JJ Spawn, and Brendan Todd, we didn't talk about, rounding out the $6 range. Brendan Todd's been a winner in 2 straight, 3 out of his last 5. Accurate driver off the tee, can get the putter going, has played okay here in the past. I think it's a little bit of a longer stretch of years since he's played this event. But Brendan Todd, I know, catching a little bit of steam. He's hanging the 15th pre-rank. This is an interesting one as well. Matt Wallace, fresh off victory, $5.94 right now. Won last week, Punta Cana. Week before that, T7 at Valspar. Are we seeing a little bit of a resurgence for Matt Wallace here? People not going to buy or give him enough credit for that Punta Cana win? We're going to find out. I'll refresh this big board. 8:56 p.m. Eastern time. We've got a couple minutes until this IPO closes. We'll keep you updated. The guys over at Jock Market are running Fast 5 right now. So the props game, if you get 5 locks in a row, 5 2-leg entries in a row, they give you an extra $1,000. You can sign up for that. Link is in the description. There's Terrell, up 50 cents since the last time I refreshed that. So he's now up to $9 per share. Still plenty of room to get to his fair value. Let's flip this around and look at the projected pre-ranks. The cheapest top 10 golfer that you can get right now, Christian Bezuidenhout. 9th in the pre-rank, $5.21. The last cash market we saw him in was the Players. It was a T13. He got 167% ROI. He did play the match play last week, and I don't think he played particularly well. I think he lost all 3. Is that right? That is right. Lost all 3 of his matches and was bounced in the group stage. Go back to the IPO price and go a little bit further down this board and see if we can find some value names. Talks a little bit about Joe Bramlett. He is $4.36. He's got about 50 cents to go to his fair value. Haven't mentioned him. Shocker of the century, Akshay Bhatia, $4.06. $2.30 was his fair value. So he's blown through that, but you're still not asking Akshay to finish all that high at $4.06. Eric Cole, 402. We know the run that he's been on as of late. He's been a very, very valuable golfer in this market. And then Garrick Higo, who's playing some of the best golf that we've seen him playing quite some time, 377. How about this? Dylan Wu is back. That's right. He is a late add to this field. T16 in Punta Cana, winner there, winner at the Players, winner in Honda, winner at Pebble Beach. That is 4 wins in his last 5 starts. That's cash market wins. Obviously, I'm talking in terms of ROI. Second page of the leaderboard. Kevin Chappell has always played well here in the past, $3.37. And now he's coming in off of 2 sizable wins, 79% at Punta Cana, 109 at Honda. Have you heard of this guy? The 81st ranked player in the world, Kazuki Higa. Yeah, 2 wins across the Asian Tour and the Japanese Tour since September. He's vibing a little bit. We haven't seen him in many markets here, but plays well on the European Tour as well. Who else do we have here? Doug Gibbs playing better. Chad Ramey withdrew last week, but was gaining strokes at the time. I think he said he was ill or it was a back injury. I know those are 2 completely different things, but we'll have to look that up. But he was playing well, and he's back in the field. All right, it's 8:59. This thing is going to close at any second here. I'm going to see if I can get one more refresh in. Nope, I think it just closed. What do you think, Joe?
Yes, we're closed.
Yeah,
confirmed.
I went for the refresh, and it gave me the dot. So,
yeah, that's what you know.
Shut it down. IPO's closed. We're going to let the dust settle and figure everything out with the prices. But well, at least I know Hatton and Hideki were moving at the end. I did not. We'll see what their final prices were, but there was some movement coming in on those guys at the end.
Yeah, Hatton was flying up there. I didn't see much of Hideki. I'm trying to see now. Okay, I have my holdings over. Man, I went for three. I went for three shorts this week, Rick, and didn't get any of them in. But the good news is I can get them in right after we go off the air here.
That's true. We are really just getting started here. This is a lot. Like this is live. All this stuff happens in real time. We're not even remotely close to done. In fact, we're just getting started. Okay. Let me get this set up here, Joe. And I would like to know who is in your portfolio for this week.
We've got Ricky Fowler. We talked about him in Bullish or Bearish. He's a part of the mix. Chris Kirk is next at $6.99 per share. Nick Taylor at $5.79 per share. Taylor Pendrith at $4.40 per share. And then I got some guys in the $3 and $2 range. So I got a mix here. Buckley, Dylan Wu, Garrick Hago. You mentioned a lot of these guys late. I thought people were gonna get a little Rick Run Good bump and take them from me, but they did not. And Chad Ramey. I was not aware of the illness / lower back issue.
One or the other.
Who knows?
Yeah, one or the other. But no, so he played. So he had 2 good starts in a row. Where he gained strokes, and I think he was a winner in both those jock markets. Then he was gaining strokes at the time that he withdrew last week. So if he's healthy or feeling good, I mean, he's playing good golf. So I think it's worth a shot. I mean, I don't know what he went for. I'm sure it was pretty cheap.
Yeah, it was $2.99 per share, so sub $3. I'm hopeful this week. I'm going to try to get a couple of those shorts in. I've 4 straight PGA markets within the top 20 of the leaderboard for your man here. So I've been making moves, building a little stack for Augusta. You could see how excited I was that they've got Pick'em coming out. I'm excited to pour that all into next week and continue to sort of evolve this portfolio over the next 4 days at Valero.
They don't call you tour picks for nothing, baby.
Let's
right,
go. Man.
All right. Let's see. So Joe's portfolio: Fowler, Kirk, Nick Taylor, Taylor Pendrith, Buckley, Hayden Buckley, Dylan Wu, Garrick Higo, Chad Ramey. Jesse got Nick Taylor, Garrick Higo, Dylan Fratelli, Ryan Gerard. That's pretty strong. Straka, Gordon, Shelton Glover for Eddie. Snoopaloop went with Martin, Benyon, Kevin Tway, Brent Grant. Kevin got Ricky Fowler, Nikolai Højgaard, Chris Kirk, Matt Wallace, Taylor. That could be 9 guys. That could be anybody. I'm assuming Nick, Ben Griffin, Ryder, Ben Martin, Dylan Wu. How about this one? Brett says, I only need 1 bullet. His name is Nico Højgaard.
He's all in on Højgaard, man. Good luck to you, Brett. You are always here in the show supporting us. If Højgaard does well, I will be thinking of you, my friend.
And then Brent Harris got Sam Ryder, S.H. Kim, Grayson Sig, Bobby Shells, Robert Shelton, I assume. Troy Merritt, Brandon Wu, Adam Long, Frankie Molinari, Dylan Wu, the Higa combination, and then Westmoreland. That is Kyle Westmoreland. Good luck. Let's look at how everything shook out here. Boom. Terrell Hatton, 901. Didn't even sniff his fair value. That could be a pretty good price.
It's not a bad price, especially if you're mentioning the injuries. He is by far and away, by any strokes gain metric, the best player in the field. It's rare that we see the best player in the field by a good margin at such an attractive price point. So it's I can't hate on that at all.
Siwoo edges out Ricky, 818 to 810. Kuchar, 775. There's Corey Connors. Fifth in the pre-rank, $7.15, right above Hideki. So there's where Hideki is, $7 a share.
I full disclosure, had short offers in on Siwoo and Connors. Siwoo, I'm just expecting it to blow up, and Corey just has not been playing well. The other one I was trying to short was our boy Davis Riley that we talked about. So I didn't get any of them in, but we'll see if there's a nice number out there that someone wants to offload some shares to me.
Davis Riley finished at $6.50 a share. He beat his fair value. Just kind of looking at some guys that we talked about. Matt Wallace, $1 short of his fair value. That could end up
Yeah,
being, dude's playing great golf. That might be an awesome price on Matt Wallace right now.
it might. Is this? So I know you and I both subscribe to the theory of like the anti-theory of like you win and you're not going to play well the next time out. I don't think it really makes any sense. Is this the place at Valero that he was really good out of nowhere a couple of years ago? Maybe like a third or fourth place finish.
Yeah, I think he's played here twice. I think it's a missed cut and like a T3 or something like that.
Okay, I thought this was the spot. Yeah.
Whoops. I can tell you right now.
Matt Wallace was hyped at one point, man. When he first came over, didn't he have like 4 European Tour wins in a year?
Yeah, he was hot. So 2 years ago, he finished third. Last year, he missed the cut.
Okay.
And I think last year he was like playing horribly leading into this thing. Yeah, he
Oh,
was.
yeah.
It was his sixth missed cut in a row.
Yeah.
He's
He was a
obviously
mess.
playing. He's playing much better now. So yes, I think that price on Matt Wallace could end up being really good.
I'd agree with you there.
And then the rest of that kind of stuck with where we're at. So let's talk through where we go from here, because you mentioned it. You know, we are literally just getting started. Live trading is open right now. You can continue to buy, you could sell, you could short, you can continue to get involved and see how this plays out over the course of the next 4 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be excited as you kind of tease there to keep refreshing my app to see if we get a little pick 'em in for maybe the weekend. We'll see if that happens. If not, I'm really looking forward to next week. But best of luck to everyone at Valero in here. I appreciate you guys checking out the show as always. And can't wait, man. 1 week away.
That's right. So see if you can get involved in the pick 'em. There's a link in the description for their Fast 5 promotion. If you're the first person to complete a streak of 5 winners, they give you an extra $1,000, which I've heard is pretty good to get free money. So go and try doing that. And of course, we will be back next week, same time, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time, Rick Run Good YouTube channel on Wednesday to talk about the Masters.
The Masters.
Oof,
I can smell the pine straw.
The azaleas are blooming. I can see them in my eyes already. All right. Follow Joe on Twitter at TorPicks. You can find me at RickRunGood. This has been your Jock Market Power Hour for this week's Valero Texas Open. Good luck.